Ag PhD full episodes and more are now available on Acres TV, the newest ag platform connecting you to fields of information. Look for us on watchacrestv.com.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about life cycles of insects. So there are a lot of different types of insects, everything from flies to worms to beetles. And they all, it seems like, have different life cycles. So we just wanted to talk through some of the stages with these different bugs today and give you a few examples that we have for issues on our own farm.
Well, oftentimes farmers will really target control of an insect in one particular stage, but an exception to that is the corn rootworm. So a lot of times they'll think about the little larvae, the little worms, chewing on the corn root system, but farmers will try to stop them, no doubt about it, and to do that, they've got to put insecticide out or a BT trait out at planting time. Otherwise, they can't stop those larvae. Well, eventually the larvae will feed and they will emerge from the ground as an adult beetle. And at the beetle stage, many farmers can actually see the bug then, and they can do something about it. The corn rootworm beetle is actually fairly easy to control, but the challenge is those rootworm larvae, well, they're going to mature at different rates. So sometimes you'll see a beetle, say the 1st of July, and other times you'll see it the 1st of September. Well, there's no insecticide at all that's going to stop beetle emergence over that wide a time window. And the big thing with those beetles is you've got to get them early before they lay eggs, because those eggs will lay in the ground and hatch next spring, and they'll turn into larvae, which will eventually be beetles and start the whole cycle again.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here too is there is delayed diapause. So when we talk about just one generation per year, it actually could be just one generation over 2 years. With delayed diapause, what that means is the eggs don't hatch the next year, they hatch the year after that. Well, with Hessian fly, it's really a lot different, because Hessian fly, we see that in wheat and a number of different crops, and you might have several different generations per year. If I'm in Texas, for example, I might have 6 generations per year. In South Dakota, it won't be quite so many just because we are a lot cooler. But what it is, it's a fly, it's going to lay eggs, then when those eggs hatch, it's going to be a worm, then it will pupate, and then it will become the fly. So over winter, a lot of times what you're going to see is it's going to be in that pupae stage. So it's when it's going from the worm stage over to the fly stage. Once spring breaks, then a lot of those things emerge as flies, and then it gets started with that. And like I say, it could be several generations per year.
And that Hessian fly a lot of times will be in the field, down in the crown of a host plant. And then you look at other bugs like soybean aphids, they won't even be in the field necessarily. A lot of times they're off in the tree belt overwintering on buckthorn. So you think, wait a second, now I got to worry about what's in the trees too? Yeah, we have to worry about what's in the trees, what's in the ditches, the grass waterways. A lot of times insects don't necessarily stay in the field.
Yep, and we talked about soybean aphids. With reproduction, well, they're going to have lots of generations per year. They say that if the temperature is 77 degrees, soybean aphid numbers will double every day. So you think about that, and I mean, all of a sudden you go from 10 to 20 to 40, and it just explodes in a matter of a week or two. So this bug is the one I worry about almost the most, because the numbers can just get absolutely out of control, even when you just started with a few in your field.
Yeah, and aphids are kind of an interesting thing too, because they're so small, and a lot of times they'll be on the undersides of the leaves or the lower parts of the canopy. We see aphids in just about every crop out there, even in the ornamentals and flowers around houses, there'll be some aphids.
Different types of aphids than the ones we have in soybeans.
Yeah, there's lots of different kinds of aphids. They're tough to see, and if you're spraying an insecticide, for example, they're kind of tough to get to because of where they're at on the plant.
So last thing that I'll say here is, with all these different life cycles, it's important for farmers to know what is the life cycle, what's the stage I can most easily control this pest, and most importantly probably, at what stage does it do the most harm to my crop? Because we always have to look at the economics of spraying versus not spraying, and we're always hoping that something, maybe it's Mother Nature or some other pest, will wipe out these insects so we don't have to kill them.
Well, one other thing we'd love Mother Nature to just wipe out is our weed of the week. We'll show you how to stop this tough weed later in the show.